All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 10 of the Business Matters podcast. We are here at the Win Technology Studio with a special thank you to our media sponsor, Home Tech by Mosaic. My name is Hope Turvaville, and I am our Director of Workforce here at the Eau Claire Chamber of Commerce. And I am here today with Elisia Gonsowski with Riverside Machine Engineering. I'll let her introduce herself a little further and talk about her position.
Hi, I'm Elisia Gonsowski. I am the Human Resource Manager at Riverside Machine Engineering here in Eau Claire. I support our people in all aspects. I kind of follow the role of human resource generalist, if you would, and we are a manufacturing company in the area.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad to have you here today. It's great, all the different things you do and we interact through the chamber. So I'll give a little overview of what we're going to focus on through today's episode. We'll be talking about Youth Apprenticeship from a business perspective, while also highlighting Riverside Machine Engineering, who they are, what they do, and how workforce development plays a role in their success. And as the Director of Workforce here, I'm also our Regional Coordinator for the Youth Apprenticeship program. It really falls into our talent development tenet, and I get to work with a lot of great employers such as yourself. So yeah, I guess we'll just dive right into Riverside Machine and Engineering. This is great for me as well as the listeners to just learn more about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. We are a family-owned company, so we are smaller. We have about 135 to 140 employees currently, running 3 different shifts. Not a lot of people have heard about us. We're not necessarily a household product that you're going to purchase. Like I said, we're a manufacturing company. We make really cool stuff. We do complex and tight tolerance CNC machining.
Okay.
So we're working with metals, and we are making parts that cool the electronics for radar systems in different types of applications. So we're indirectly doing Department of Defense work. We're making heat sinks and cooling plates that go into, potentially fighter jets, ships, things like that. So
I get what you mean, that not everybody is going to know that just from, like, even myself seeing, like, machine and engineering. I'm not thinking, like, Department of Defense, fighter jets, but that's really cool that it like boiled down. That's what you're doing day to day, and that's where it can go. So that's really cool to think about, like, the big picture there.
Yeah, we also do some medical device work as well, where we're making medical devices that are used in different types of surgical procedures, joint replacement procedures, different things like that. So
got it. And I do have to share, I never told you this, my roommate works her dad, my roommate's dad works at Riverside.
Oh, awesome.
I was having a conversation with her about doing this. She's like, that's where my dad works. So that was something that's so cool. And, like, I don't think she even knew. Like, her dad goes to work every day, but I don't think she realized that that's fully, like, what you're all doing. And it's the same for me growing up, like, where my dad works, you never know. But then it's really cool to make that connection, and then you realize, wow, that's what you get to do every day. It's
absolutely
really cool. So, I know you talked a little bit about the industries you serve, the type of work you specialize in. What would you say sets Riverside apart in the manufacturing and engineering space?
Yeah, so we are one of a handful of companies that does a process that we have. It's called aluminum vacuum furnace brazing. And with our customers, we are in the top braze houses in the nation. So while we have competition in this area for labor, we don't have competition for the work that we do.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is so cool for me too, as I have been here at the chamber and I get to interact with our different investors. It's learning the different things of, like, yes, you're manufacturing, but what do you, like, specifically do? Like, we have plastics, we have metals, we have all these different things. And so it's really cool getting to learn everyone's, like, niche and what you specialize in.
Yeah, and it's crazy. In my human resource career, I've worked in manufacturing my whole career, and I won't admit today how long I've worked in human resources. It's been a while, but it really opened my eyes to all the cool things that we make in the Chippewa Valley here. So there's a lot of awesome things that we manufacture that people don't always necessarily know about.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, talking about the different, manufacturers we have in the area, What would you say regarding like workforce challenges in manufacturing? What does the current landscape look like for skilled labor? You're in HR, so how has that affected, hiring, recruitment, and retaining talent?
Yeah, it's definitely getting more and more difficult to find that skilled labor, or employees that have the skills and experience that we're looking for, specifically in machining. Really, machining is our niche. That's what we need to keep everything going. And that population is dwindling in this area. Less and less students know about
Mm-hmm.
it. And they don't necessarily go in, choose a career path that they don't know about. If it's not something that they know to check out or ask about or have had any exposure to,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something they're going to necessarily pursue. So, for us specifically, machinist labor is something that we're trying to think differently about how we're bringing people into our business and training them up, or utilizing our current skilled workforce in different ways so that we can maybe bring in somebody that doesn't necessarily have the skill that we saw with a student graduating with a machine tool degree maybe 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's really changed how we have to look at the workforce and who we are able to bring in.
Yeah, I actually just had a similar conversation this morning, talking about how you have what you need, the skills that you have when it's something that's more niche and it's machining, and what you need them to be trained on, but it's getting this career path in front of them at a young age. I was talking with someone earlier as well about like different apprenticeship and training, like you can get them in the door and then, realize, hey, we would like you to be trained on this skill, start that training process, but that it's just something you have to think about further ahead of time. And like things have changed so much over the years. Would you say, do you like utilize like resources and partnerships through like UW Eau Claire, CVTC? Is that where newer, younger talent is coming from, or do you find more people who are further along in their careers and they already have the skills and you recruit them to come work for you?
I would say both.
Okay.
Yeah, we, again, just talking specifically about machining, we have a close partnership with the machine tool program at
Mhm.
CVTC. We sit on their advisory committee and help give feedback of what industry is looking for from students graduating with that degree. We're also looking for experienced machinists,
Mhm.
people that have grown their career maybe with another company. We recruit those folks as well, bring them in, and due to the work that we are doing and it being so niche for our area, even a skilled machinist doesn't come in and know
Mhm.
everything. They might know the machine, but doing aerospace and medical work, there's a lot of documentation
Oh
involved.
yeah.
And so a lot of experienced machinists that have come in say the documentation takes more time to learn than the machining because they've done the machining, they
Uh-huh.
know that
Those
part.
like technical skills, but then
Mhm.
it's the whole realm of it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the documentation is different than what they've typically experienced in
Mhm.
a different machining job
Yeah.
in our area.
So it feels like the traditional like recruit, interview, whatever isn't maybe enough, it's more in depth, of furthering their training, after they come and they have those machining skills, but being able to apply it like specifically to what you do.
Correct. Yeah. And even the students that we hire that maybe went to CVTC, got their machine tool degree, they have a foundation.
Mhm.
They still have a whole lot to learn,
Yeah.
regardless of what employer they go to. They have the foundation of machining,
Yeah.
but they have lots to learn. And they will, even our machinists that have been with us for 20, 30 years, still tell us they learn something new every day.
Absolutely. I think about that too. Like I'm obviously young, I'm new here at the chamber, but it is cool to think about I still have the opportunity to learn something. We all do. It's cliche that you learn something new every day, but sometimes you really do.
Hmm.
So that's cool. And obviously I've been out of college for about a year and a half now, but I think about that like student side of myself has kind of fallen away, and I feel like I'm not tapping into that like learning anymore, but it is really cool. It might not be your traditional sit in the classroom learning that we're used to, but pretty much any field you get into, you're still going to have that continuation of learning, and I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So I know I just mentioned how it's really important to get those career paths like the skilled manufacturing in front of students at a young age, and that's how they're able to tap into that career path. So one thing we wanted to focus on today is our Youth Apprenticeship program. I can give a little overview to our listeners of Youth Apprenticeship. I know we know what it is, but it's a 1 to 2 year program for high school juniors and seniors. It allows them to jumpstart their career exploration. And there's, my goodness, almost every pathway you could imagine. Like they just did a new like barber and cosmetology one. We've got like you can go to a firefighting apprenticeship. You can do beverage and hospitality. You can do manufacturing. So the possibilities are nearly endless. So students are able to earn a wage like they would at any other part-time job as a teenager. And the way that it really ties together is while they're working this job, they're also taking a related instruction class in their school. So an example, myself, I actually took part in Youth Apprenticeship when I was in high school. I worked at Caribou Coffee, and that fell into the hospitality and tourism pathway. So I took a foods class in school, so it was related to the beverage and hospitality, and I got a grade for that on my report card. It boosted my GPA. Thank you. I was eligible for different scholarships that my school offered. I'm sure it's different at every school district in the area, but you were just able to kind of get your foot in the door and gain experience from mentors. So that's, a great benefit on the student side, the youth apprentice, their side, and it hopefully just jumpstarts that career path. And then also from your side, the employer side, it helps strengthen your workforce, and it just is the first step in that talent pipeline to have talent development. And it's been really cool for me. Like I said, I participated in high school, so now it's kind of been the full circle moment that I was a youth apprentice, and now I get to be the one who's helping, on the administrative side of things, but making those connections. And I hope that, maybe you hire a youth apprentice and 5-10 years down the road, they've gone through their schooling, whatever, they come back to you and they can be a full-time employee. So that's a little bit of the background on YA. Do you want to talk a little bit about how Riverside participates in the program?
Absolutely. Riverside has been participating in YA for about 10 years now. We offer the manufacturing pathway, specifically production is what we have been doing. So our youth apprenticeship position focuses on machining.
Mm-hmm.
We look for students that have had some exposure or experience in machining and are considering it for a career path. So we bring them in as a machining intern in the youth apprenticeship, and like you said, Hope, they are getting real world on the job experience on something that they are learning in school. So they're getting to gain and apply knowledge that they're learning as they go here. So with us, we are teaching them, some of our machines. We're keeping it a little bit more basic. We don't want to overwhelm them because this is, for some of our students, this is their first W-2 job even.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So they're learning, some of our simpler parts, if you would, is where they're starting. And they're learning the machines. They're learning the documentation. I talked about that earlier, that we have a lot of documentation involved in what we do. So they're learning that. They're learning how to do quality checks on their parts. So they're doing dimensional measurements. They're doing visual checks. So they're really doing what a machinist is doing in the more basic levels. And then as they progress through the youth apprenticeship, we try to expose them to more so they really gain a full understanding of what this career pathway could look like if they decide to pursue that opportunity. So, and then, there's opportunities if they decide, once they get through the youth apprenticeship, if they decide this is a super cool career, this is what I want to do when I'm done with high school, we have a tuition reimbursement program that will help them continue their education in this field. Our long-term goal is we'd love for them to, continue their career with us as they grow.
Yeah, I think that is the coolest part of it. I worked at Caribou in high school. I'm not there anymore, so I didn't quite have the the full story, the full circle kind of moment, but it was still a great resume builder for me. You know, I had that as I applied to colleges and whatever, that I was part of this youth apprenticeship program. But I just think about like the endless opportunity you have by getting your foot in the door that early. I heard a story last week, a high school senior who has participated in youth apprenticeship for his junior and senior year. He's about to graduate and will be moving from a youth apprenticeship to a registered apprenticeship, I think, in carpentry. He's about to graduate high school and he'll be making almost $30 an hour as an 18-year-old. And that is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah,
and
it's wild.
Yeah, thinking about someone who can come to you at Riverside as a youth apprentice, spend 1 year, 2 years, go on to, I assume it's a 2-year program at
They could do
CBTC.
a 1 or a 2
Yep.
year, they decide.
And then, boom, come back to you. They've got the skills. They are familiar with it. And it's just, it's amazing to think about the opportunities they can take advantage of. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's like having your part-time job that most teenagers have, but just this whole other added benefit as it just contributes to the talent pipeline. And I think it's harder to envision the full circle, full story pipeline, whatever. But I hope to see that in my time in this role. If I have someone that comes as a youth apprentice, goes through their time, and then works back into a full-time role, I think that's so exciting.
It is exciting. And from an employer standpoint, I tell our managers where we hire the youth apprenticeships, we can't go into it expecting that they're going to choose this as a career. We're giving them an opportunity to try it before essentially they buy it, before they spend the money on the tuition. And,
yeah, that's fair.
And some of them, they decide, this is the career I want. And they, become a long-term employee. And some say, you know what? I'm glad I tried this. It isn't quite what I was looking for, and they go a different path. And for an employer, it really is the long game, because even if they do decide to take that, as their career, they aren't going to be an experienced machinist upon graduating from high school. They're not even going to be considered an experienced machinist once they graduate from CVTC.
There's still so much more to learn.
Yeah. Yep. So it takes time, and we can't expect them all to pursue that career. And you know what? Another thing, looking forward, like I said, we've been doing youth apprenticeship for about 10 years. Not all those students have decided to pursue a career, even necessarily in manufacturing, but they had this experience, and maybe they will down the road, after they tried something else, come back to it and say, you know what? I did like machining. I want to go back to that.
And just having that, maybe in the long run, it feels like a little tidbit of experience, but it's still, dipping your toes in the water, seeing what it's all about. So I guess you touched a little bit on why Riverside chooses to invest in youth apprenticeship, and that it's the long game for you, that it's investing into these students and hoping that there's the return on that.
Like I said, we would love for them all to stay with us. Realistically, they're not. But we are going, as long as an employer is going into it with an open mind, not expecting that. When it works out, it's great. We're giving them the experience. We're being real with them. We're not trying to sugarcoat, like, look at this perfect job, and then they decide to go to school for it, and then it's we're giving them the real world.
It's real world. I think it's really cool too that manufacturing obviously is hands-on.
Yes.
And that's something so cool too on the part that it relates to your instruction that you're having in school. So you're a high school junior, senior, you have to be in school anyways, but it's really cool that maybe they're taking auto mechanics class, wood shop, whatever classes the high school offers that are going to somewhat relate in a way. For me, I took the foods class. Obviously, most teenage girls love foods class. So that was great for me, and it's such a cool opportunity that you're, like I said, you're already in school anyways. You probably want to have a part-time job in high school anyways, and being a part of this program is it can skyrocket, take you to the moon for everything.
It's an added bonus to, like you said, a high school job you probably were already planning on having.
Yes,
so
exactly. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on with just benefits for employers, or if there are other, for employers considering being a part of Youth Apprenticeship? Like, how has it benefited Riverside and, like, I guess the manufacturing industry in general for your workforce long-term strategies?
Yeah, like I said earlier, with machining, not necessarily all the schools teach it. So they don't know what they don't know. So it gives us the opportunity to show students what we do. At Riverside, we're very appreciative that we have the opportunity to give tours, to do job shadows, and show students what we do, because like I said, we're not something you see every day. We're not a product that you're going to go to the store and buy. So we're very appreciative at our business that we have the opportunity to invite, students or people that have an interest in what we do in and show them what we do. And then, as far as a benefit, we're getting students at a young age that are not sure what they want to do, and we're showing them something. And then it's helping them decide, is this a pathway that I want to take, or is it helping them decide something else is a better fit for them? So, it's an opportunity on both ends of the employer and the student. For employers, when we first started doing youth apprenticeships, like I said, it's been about 10 years. I had shared that with my HR community, and I was kind of surprised at a lot of the businesses were very hesitant. It was a different world 10 years ago, but they were concerned, about bringing high school students in for a variety of different reasons, safety. They're not experienced necessarily in the workplace, much less bringing them into a manufacturing company where we're working with maybe sharper things and maybe chemicals, things like that. But we, I guess, took the risk, if you would, at Riverside and started it. And I can say that none of our youth apprentice students have had an accident report. I don't want to regret that later.
Knock on wood.
But they are, the students are very safety sensitive and safety alert. It's something that they're learning going through school. So they're not coming in and just doing whatever they want, or not being cautious of the environment that they're in. So from an employer standpoint, it's been worth the risk, if it has even been a risk. It's been, we've been bringing in these younger students, giving them a good experience and showing them what we do. And it's a win-win on both ends.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I know that stereotype or whatever is really easy to get into. My youngest sister will be a freshman in high school next year. And so we had our youth apprenticeship career fairs last week. And it's so easy to get in that mindset, like, they're 15, they don't know what's going on, but they really do. They truly do. You'll get the kids that are so eager and so hungry to get that world experience. They have an idea of what they want to do with their lives, which is wild, because sometimes I feel like I don't. But they're curious and they're eager. They just want to get in there. And like you said, maybe they try it doesn't work out, but at least they gave it a shot. And so, I think it's just fantastic. We underestimate, the Gen Z whatever, but they really can bring so much. And that's, I really liked what you said about, like, you don't know what you don't know. And this is just a great opportunity for them to know things and learn things. And I wanted to ask, too, what you think about the benefit for students as, like, a whole person, like, not just training them on the technical machining skills, but what do you think the benefits can be for a youth apprentice, developing as a whole person, and then in turn for the employer, how that's going to be a return for them to invest in these students as a personal and professional development.
For the students, in addition to that technical knowledge that they're gaining, like I said, for a lot of the students, this is one of their first W-2 jobs. So we have a great group of people at Riverside. So they take our new people in, take them in under their wings, and really are kind of showing them what the workplace is like, what it's like to work on a team, that it's okay to go ask fellow employees questions, which I think in the end really helps students with those soft skills. They're working with their fellow students that they've been with at this point for probably, 10, 11, 12 years. And now they're moving and transitioning into kind of a different world, the working world. And I go into a lot of high schools and talk about Riverside and talk about our opportunities. And I try to tell the students what you're learning in school and their expectations here are very similar, if not the same, in the workplace.
I talk a lot about how everything is a group project. Life is a group project. I couldn't stand them in high school, college. You know, you get super frustrated, but you realize that working in a team like this, I mean, your family, your spouse, your children, like you're a team. Life is a group project.
Exactly.
So I think that's a great point to make too, that it's those soft skills for sure that you can help develop.
Yeah. They maybe haven't had an opportunity to really fully exercise them outside of the school. So this allows them to be in a different environment with different people and see how they can apply what they've been learning in school. So, and then you asked about the employer, how that kind of...
I guess, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on just investment in future talent and like what success that can bring long term for an employer?
Yeah. So, long term for us, like I said, our youth apprenticeship is focused on machining. However, it's really giving students exposure to manufacturing. So if they do this and decide, you know what, I maybe don't like machining, but while they're at Riverside, they see other departments and other things that we do.
Yeah.
So it could strike an interest of, hey, I'm doing this, but I see engineering, or I see our quality department, and it could spark an interest in other areas that we don't necessarily offer a youth apprenticeship opportunity, but they could job shadow or learn more about those opportunities. So really, this youth apprenticeship opens the door to a lot of manufacturing opportunities within Riverside.
Absolutely. All right. I guess I'll ask if you have any final remarks or key takeaways for employers considering youth apprenticeship. Anything else I didn't touch on that you might want to add?
I think we covered a lot. Like I said, youth apprenticeship has been something that we have really grown, and like I said, we've done it for over 10 years. We're grateful that our leadership team at Riverside supports it, and that we've been given this opportunity to give students this experience and exposure. For students, when I go into the high schools, I tell students, if you can do a youth apprenticeship, why not?
Absolutely.
There are so many employers out there today that are offering youth apprenticeships. So yeah, like you said, Hope, if they're already going to do a high school job, you know, they need to make money for gas or whatever.
Absolutely.
Why not gain experience in something that they think they're interested in before they make that investment in a college tuition? And then decide, you know, after 1, 2, or 4 years, depending on what they decide to go for, that never mind, that's not what I wanted to do, when they could have taken advantage of this when they were in high school. So
something I think so cool about it too is just planting the seeds here in Eau Claire. Obviously, as like talent attraction and retention, we want students, you know, to maybe they go off for college, but then they come back here because they had a youth apprenticeship here when they were in high school, and they developed a great connection and a great relationship with our different employers here. So yeah, all in all, I can't wait till I am more versed in the program and just am able to more confidently promote it and answer questions, because I want to be able to connect and make these opportunities for employers and for the students as well.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's super cool to see. I have met some amazing students through it, and you know what? Some of them are not with Riverside anymore, but I see them out in the community and still connect with them and talk about what they're doing and where they're at in their lives. So it's an awesome opportunity to impact a young life and see where they end up.
Totally. All right. Anything else?
I think that is all that I have.
Well, it was wonderful to just talk about youth apprenticeship, for me to learn more about Riverside and what you do. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you to all of our listeners, to our media sponsor, Home Tech by Mosaic. And then lastly, I just have a couple chamber-related announcements here. So reminder that the annual Employment and Benefits Conference is coming up on Tuesday, April 7th. This is hosted in partnership with Rooterware. We'll have some great legal HR updates. This will be held at the Florian Gardens, and registration is closing soon, so don't miss your chance. Also coming up next month, we have our Business After Hours on Monday, April 13th. This will be held at the Lismore and is hosted by Lacrosse Sign Group. And finally, be sure to join us for our second signature event of the year, Chamber Royale. This is happening on Thursday, April 16th at the Eau Claire Event District. You can find details for all these events on our website or by giving us a call. So thank you very much, and we will catch you on the next one.